Can you believe it, Steve? Another week has gone by. How are you, sir?
I'm okay, mate. What about you? How are you doing?
Oh, strange week. This week, I went to a terrible place that showed exotic animals. It only had one dog. It was a shit zoo.
Oh, dear.
So what have you been up to?
Not researching very, very bad dad jokes. That's what I've not been up to.
I spent hours doing that.
Yeah, I can well imagine. And all I can say is that you have scraped one of the bottoms of the barrel.
Believe me, that barrel is very deep.
I think that what we were going to have a quick natter about is what is your favourite animal and why?
Yes, although I can only say it's odd because if it's an animal or a pet, I love animals, but I've hardly ever had a pet. In fact, the only time I had a pet was when I was growing up as a kid. Because when I joined the Navy, we didn't have them. And when I got married, my wife's asthmatic. So we don't have dogs and cats for that one reason. We never have. We've had goldfish for the kids, and that's about it.
What about your pet monkey in the Royal Navy?
Toby! Whatever happened to Toby?
Whatever happened to him? Have you not got him tucked in a box somewhere?
No, he got so bad, he stank. We had to throw him out. It was only about 10 years ago. When we moved down to where we are now, it was appalling. I had him about 30 odd years. He was at my wedding, nights out with you somewhere in India or so.
Yeah. I think you do need to explain for some of our listeners that you didn't just throw this monkey out. Talk a little bit about the monkey and what it was.
So I was on HMS Aurora and we went out to the Far East and was in Perth, Western Australia, actually in Fremantle, walking around, and we came across a bric-a-brac store that had this monkey that if you put your hand up, you wrap the arms around your neck and around your body, and your hand would be moving the head. And for some reason, it caught on that if I went out on a night out, people would come up at the bar half drunk and have a conversation with this monkey. And I'd just be sat there, stood back and letting it happen. It was bizarre. And of course, I took it out when I joined the Charybdis and on the Brazen. In fact, when you reminded me of the monkey, I forgot about it, because I've not seen him for 10, 15 years. And I thought, yeah, I took him perhaps too often out, but he was he was fun.
He was quite a character, that monkey.
He was. He caught a few fights, I can tell you.
He used to get in a bit of strife, that monkey,
did,
if
yeah,
I
but
remember
never
rightly. No, that monkey was being powered by something very demonic, I feel.
He was amazing, and it was great, but he had his time. In fact, I'm surprised it lasted as long as he did.
You've not had many pets at all, so what's your favourite animal?
Well, funnily enough, I've always had a soft spot for a black Labrador.
Okay,
Absolutely
black labs, yeah.
love black labs. And I often see a couple out here, unusual for black labs, because they can get big. And this one, although it's old, is quite wiry and runs around a lot. Just love them. I just find them great. And of course, I live close to water, and it's stuff you can swim in all over the place. So they have a rare old time here. What about yourself?
Oh, my favourite animal.
Jack Russell, isn't it?
If I was to have a little dog pet, the Jack Russell is certainly my favourite little dog. But I think that my favourite animal, the animal that I really like, is the wolf.
You are a lone wolf.
I really like the wolf. There's something that they embody. There's attributes, there's traits, there's characteristics that I really admire.
Grey hair, for one.
Grey hair, strength and survival, loyalty and identity within the pack, independence yet freedom. All of these almost contradictions. There's also something really mysterious and spiritual about the wolf, which I like as well.
Yeah, it's a bit like the lion, because I'm a Leo.
Yeah.
And I suppose I should like the lion. I don't really. I prefer the tiger. Or the puma.
Not the cougar.
It's odd, isn't it? Cougar, no. You avoid them.
Yes, indeed. At our age you do, mate. They'll be coming at you on a Zimmer frame.
Might keep us young. You never know. So you see yourself as a wolf. They reckon that we have a spirit animal in some cultures, and it forms part of our personality, even the way we walk.
Yeah.
I can see you definitely as a wolf.
There's just so many fantastic characteristics of them, and I've always admired the wolf as an animal. They mirror humanity in so much as there is always a human desire to overcome adversity and endure, not only just through instinct, but through intelligence and through sheer will. And you see that in the wolf, whether they're in snow, whether they're in wilderness, whether it's in a time of scarcity of food. They are just such an incredible flipping animal. They work really well in a social structure. They tie in really well. They work cooperatively with one another. They hunt together. They live together. They even raise their young together, and they're bound by a fierce loyalty to the pack. And I think of the types of teams that I've worked in and the squads and the units and stuff that I've done over the years. That way of looking at things, that unity, that shared purpose, I see that as a reflection in some of the work that I've done. Disciplined, protective, interdependent, yet also very independent and free to unconventionally do what you need to do. The lone wolf, the ones who roam off and do their own thing for a while. Loyal yet free. I like all of that. It's very appealing.
I watched a program once, I think it was something like a David Attenborough, and it was North America during winter, and it was following a wolf pack. And it was this amazing thing, I don't even know why they put it in. So two wolves had coupled, and they kind of do it when they're moving. But for some reason, he couldn't decouple, he got caught. It's quite common, supposedly, especially if they get attacked. These two were running around for hours, and he was in agony, this guy, until he eventually managed to slip away, so to speak.
Yeah.
I didn't know that even happened.
It happens with other dogs as well. You know, they have the hook on, and it hooks in to the female, and they can't get out. Yeah, you wouldn't want that. You wouldn't want that. That'd be a bit uncomfortable.
I'm surprised they've evolved like that.
There's obviously some good reason for it somewhere along the line. Apart from the coupling and not being able to get away from it. But some of those other things really appeal to me in terms of freedom from constraint, authenticity in being, that type of stuff. And as I say, the sense of mystery and spirituality. Norse mythology, Fenrir. Go back to Fenrir, wolf, go back to Skog, go back to Hati. Mythology that links the wolf to cosmic forces. Native American traditions see the wolf as a teacher or as a guide. We're really drawn to the wolf as this creature of liminality. That's a great word, isn't it? Liminality. Yeah, there's this wonderful creature living at this intersection of the civilized and the sacred. I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. The physical and the spiritual world.
Because they're linked in some cultures with shamans.
Yeah, I think they are.
Used to believe that some shamans can transform into a wolf and vice versa. And in fact, that's the basis of the Belgariad.
Yes. David
which,
Eddings'
funnily
book.
enough, you loved, didn't you, in the 80s?
I did. I loved that book, yeah. And maybe that all feeds into some of that. Who knows?
Could have been why you got it. They are connected quite a lot, aren't they? So the idea that certain animals have this ability to have an energy or aura, a spirit around them in all cultures.
Yeah, it's fascinating. There's a transcendent truth in that. If I'm right here, I might not be, because I'm not all very well up on all of this. But in Jungian thought, the wolf is the shadow self, isn't it?
Probably part of the dream state.
Psychologically, the wolf represents the shadow in Jungian thought, the wild, instinctual side of the human nature that society will often repress.
The untamed aspect of ourselves.
Yeah, that's right. It appeals to me because it expresses those sorts of things that we crave, the emotion, all of that unfiltered darkness, sensuality, freedom from constraint.
The lone wolf, social exclusion. When you came to New Zealand, you felt put to one side in a lot of aspects. Do you think that throughout your life you've had that lone wolfism?
Wherever I've been, I've never quite fitted with the pack in the way that I could have fitted, or other people appeared to fit. So I've always been a little bit of an outsider. I've always worked on the fringes of everything that I've done. So I think that I've been the right type of person to work in the right type of world that I've worked in. There is a sort of duality, I suppose, there. And again, that appeals to the wolf, doesn't it? Because a wolf is both a protector and a predator.
It's connected with empathy.
Yeah.
An empath. That you sense energies around you or how people feel, even though they're not saying it. You can pick up clues. Body language, I think science would say. But they tend to be introverts. And I don't know if you are an introvert. Perhaps you are.
Well, I'm certainly not an extrovert, mate. I've lived in the shadow world all of my life. I don't like being in the forbidden forefront of anything. Interesting.
Yet you put yourself in the public arena for counselling and police.
I put myself in the public arena for service, not for spotlight.
Right.
So there's a difference, right? I've never served to elevate myself and raise my profile. I have served for something bigger than me, not for me. I've never sought the spotlight, ever.
Because they're supposed to be highly intelligent and very, very sensitive.
The former I'm not so sure about. The latter I'm probably quite sensitive. Highly intelligent. I don't know about that.
No, I think you are, and I think we're quite similar that way. That I often go into what's known as hermit mode. I
yeah.
spent at least 15 years out of public eye.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, a guy who I served on the Aurora with, I won't mention his name, he's gone through some difficult periods just recently, and he said he's gone into almost hermit mode. And just the fact he said those words, it's like, wow, okay. There's a connection that all three of us have then. Although
Yeah.
you're not connected necessarily to him, and you'll have people similar, that we seem to find people very similar to ourselves because it's the pack.
Yeah, I would withdraw. I use that exact same phrase. I've become a hermit. When at certain times in my career I have become a hermit. I've just withdrawn completely back into myself and not exposed to any other outside influence or very limited outside influence other than the closest possible people to me in terms of wife and family. But otherwise just totally withdraw into hermit mode. It's an interesting thing. The wolf is beautiful. I love the wolf. I think that they are absolutely amazing creatures. I love the mystery around them, the grace, the sleek, the powerful, the raw natural beauty. I think there's just something absolutely fascinating about the wolf. I love them for as long as I can remember.
From the wolf, you go to Jack Russell.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. I've got a lovely picture that I sent my wife the other day of a little Jack Russell looking into the puddle, looking at the reflection, and the reflection in the puddle is of a lion. And this is how Jack Russell see themselves. But if one of my little Jacks was looking into a puddle, he would see himself as a wolf.
Yeah.
Snarling
Great lesson
there.
there.
Yeah, that's right. And, it's never the size of the dog in the fight. It's always the size of the fight in the dog that matters. And little Jacks have got a lot of fight in them.
You don't give up your childlike ways when you become old. You become old when you give up your childlike ways. Jacks and wolves would be like that, won't they? They don't really age unless they wither.
Yeah, they just crack on, don't they? Jack Russells, pet-wise, they would be my pet. Animal-wise, would definitely be a wolf. And there's just a connection between the dog family and humanity, which I think is fascinating. You sort of go back from the history. I've actually got a really wonderful book of Wolves and Men, it's called, and it is a really good book on the interaction between wolves and humanity.
One thing about the wolf, and I mentioned the lion earlier, I'd also possibly include cheetahs, a hawk, or an eagle. They're the kind of animal that as soon as they come into a room, they don't have to do anything and everyone knows they're there. And I like that. I don't necessarily like the idea of going into a room to worry people, but it changes the atmosphere, changes the dynamic in a room, and they can definitely do that. And that's quite magical when you think of that power. Just got this regal sense about them. There's like this, you could feel it palpably.
You're right, and with these great big hawks that we get over here, you'll be driving the car and they'll be eating a bit of cannon fodder on the road, and they'll look at the car coming towards them, and they're almost like daring you. So come on then.
Right, yeah.
Come on then, if you think you're hard enough. Come on then. Think I'm worried about you. And of course the cars swerve round them and they're going, yeah, there you go, I told you.
It's like those minor birds who go across as well.
Yeah.
They don't go quick out of the way, but they're always getting out of the way.
Yeah, there's something quite powerful about those. But I believe that the Spirit of God infuses everything in the world, and that includes every created thing in the world, every living being, everything that has breath in it is infused with the Spirit of God. And there is something fascinating about that trait of this great spirit that we call God in every animal of the world. And if you were to combine all of those traits together and smash them all together on some sort of smorgasbord of characteristics, you would start to see characteristics of this great spirit that we call God. And that would be quite a terrifying thing to look at.
Well, if you are combining all that kind of stuff and emotions for each animal, think of the shark. That'll make you think about something greater than you.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
And that's the thing I don't understand about people who will deny the existence of such a force. Because you only have to go out in the jungle.
Yeah.
You go out at night and listen to the sounds, you'd think there's something beyond that. And I'm not talking like the insects and stuff like that. Terrifying.
There is something quite terrifying about the vastness of this outside force that rules the cosmos. We've lost a sense of that awe.
So what fascinates me, although I've not really vocalised this before, I think it's just been running in my head occasionally. We see the animals that we're talked about in a certain way. I wonder if they see us the same.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd imagine that most lions see us as food.
Well, I don't know. Think of Born Free and Elsa.
There are exceptions.
We'd like to think we can control them, but there's certain, like a cat, you can't control a cat.
Yeah, flipping heck. Cats you can't control. As I've said before, there are times that cats were worshipped as gods and the cats have never forgotten it. Seriously. They just haven't. Feed me, human.
When I came to New Zealand for the first time in 1983, I was walking down Auckland and I came across this wonderful cartoon, Foot Rot Flats,
Yeah.
which is a New Zealand icon, and they got Horse, the most cantankerous cat. And my grandson is now into a Kiwi thing called Hairy McClary.
Donaldson's Dairy. Yeah.
That's right. And Scarface Claw, the cat. It's just wonderful finds, and I've always linked them with New Zealand cats and the fact that they're like this superior being, and we have to be careful around them.
Oh, yeah, we do. We really do. How these animals view us, who knows? When I look at my Jack Russells, I do wonder how they view me. It's certainly not with flipping respect, that's for sure. As you pulling them off your head. Get off my
They're
head!
great ratters, though, aren't they?
Oh, they're great animals, yeah. Yeah, they are. They're very good for ratting, very good for small furry prey.
Well, at least you got an animal to talk about, which I hadn't planned, so I failed on that one. So
Total epic fail, Mark. A black lab. A black
good
lab.
joke, though. Good joke to begin with.
Well, good joke. If we score this podcast on that being a good joke, goodness me. It'll be another epic fail.
You wait till the next lot. I'll say goodbye to you then, Lone Wolf.
You take out Wolf in Shadow, if you don't mind.
Yeah, Wolf. Foxy. All right.
Foxy. All right. Yeah, take care, mate. Bye-bye.
Bye.